Welcome back to Friday Financial, and we are joined once again by Samantha Hargrave, who is the HR generalist here at MHV. Sam, thanks for hopping back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me back. It had a lot of fun last time, so I'm excited for this one.
Well, this is another good topic to talk about. When people are looking at jobs, especially externally, right? The biggest question is always going to be, well, how much are you going to pay me? There is more to the compensation than just salary. And sometimes I don't think people always know what to look for, how important it is, or kind of how to weigh if that's, if that's fair and if it's a good move for them. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I love this topic. There's so many different things for people to consider when they're, fielding job offers or, really just kind of entertaining different companies and whatnot. So there's so much to say about it. So we can start off with simple factors such as 401k, paid time off, supplemental benefits, things like that. So, it's so easy to get caught up in that base number. So a job, a company may say to you, hey, I can pay you $3 more an hour than what you're currently making. And that looks great, right? If you're just looking at that base number, but there's so many other things to consider. So, right off the bat, I would advise, asking about their 401k program, right? So it's important to know how much does that employer match for your contribution? Are they, are they matching, 4% such as MHV, right? So we do 4% here. Other companies may do less, more, whatever it may be. So you're considering that. You're thinking about non-elective deferrals. So does the employer offer, maybe a safe harbor contribution where they're taking a percent of your annual salary and putting that into your funds on your behalf as well? So those are really important factors when thinking about 401k and retirement. When are you fully vested in the non-elective deferral money? That's another big one. So a lot of times, people don't even think to consider that, but, maybe an employer is matching more, but maybe you're not fully vested in those funds until, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. So that's something to think about too when it comes to 401k.
And I would say, if you're younger and you're just entering the job market, it's harder to put a value to that for a lot of times.
It really is, yeah.
Anybody who's listening, take it from someone in their mid-40s. Beef up that retirement plan as much as you possibly can. That's really, really crucial. And that's a really important factor to look at when you're looking at jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're entering the job world and you're maybe, diving into your first professional role, it's easy to just think to yourself, well, that's so far down the road. I'm not going to worry about it. I'd rather have more in my paycheck now. But, don't give up that free money, essentially. Take advantage of that. If your employer offers a match, take advantage of it. I can't stress it enough. So
yeah. All right. So what next? We talked about 401k, retirement.
Yeah. Also, so benefits, of course, right? So those are vital. So medical, vision, dental, supplemental insurances. So you want to think about how much is the employer willing to contribute towards your premiums on a biweekly or monthly basis. Are they covering 50%? Are they only covering maybe 25%? And so you got to factor that into your salary too. Of course, that's money that's coming directly out of your pocket each pay period. What kind of plans do they offer? So what suits you and your family best? High deductible versus low deductible, how many plans do they offer, in-network, out-of-network benefits, things like that. So that comes into play. Don't hesitate to, when you're going through the interview process or even fielding an offer, ask them about that, inquire about that. Those are really important pieces that you want to take home while you're considering offers. So,
and also I would add on that, like, when does it start? Like, when do your benefits kick in?
That's a really good point, right? So employers sometimes have a waiting period. Luckily here at MHV, we don't. So your benefits kick in as of date of hire. But a lot of employers do have a waiting period, whether it be 60 or 90 days. Everybody's different. But that really is something to consider, because in that gap, are you paying for benefits out of pocket? Are you, carrying COBRA coverage, whatever it may be? So you definitely want to consider that, because again, that pulls right off of your, it comes directly out of your pocket. So it's important. Do they offer an EAP program? Do they offer a plethora of plans that Maybe they've got, their Cadillac plan, so to speak, and it's more expensive, but does it save you in the long run? You have maybe no deductible. Maybe you've got a lot of dependents on the plan that it's really going to make up for the salary difference in the long run. So that's important. Of course, supplemental insurances. So, do they offer critical illness, hospital indemnity, other plans like that? A lot of employers sometimes just really offer the basic medical, vision, and dental. But there's other plans to consider that might come in handy, or something you might end up utilizing that year that maybe they offer for free, or they pay most of that premium. So really important to consider benefits, of course. So
yeah, definitely. What else? Retirement benefits. What else should someone look at when they're considering a full compensation package?
Yeah, so one of my favorites, of course, is think about paid time off. So a lot of employers right now, it's a real competitive market out there. A lot of employers are offering, they know that work-home balance has become so important, right? So a lot of employers are offering, unlimited PTO. A lot of employers will bucket into one group. So they might say, hey, yeah, you've got, 3 weeks paid time off, but maybe that includes your sick time as well. Whereas some employers break it down. Maybe they say, you've got 2 to 3 weeks of paid time off for vacation, but then you also have this additional sick time bucket too. So that's something to consider. I mean, whether or not you have children, or whatever you have going on in your personal life, do they offer personal time? Do they offer volunteer time? I mean, there's so many different, paid time off categories that you want to think about when you're fielding offers as well.
Definitely.
How much time is offered with years of service, right? So as you work and remain loyal to a company, do they reward you with more paid time off as you hit a certain tier? So that's something to consider too, coupled with paid time off, but also coupled with remote work, right? So the ability for hybrid work. Does the employer let you work from home a couple of days of the week? Or maybe that's not your forte, right? Maybe you don't like that, and the option is there, but maybe you're just going to come into the office anyway. But those are all things to consider as far as time off, flexibility, of course. I mean, it depends what you value too. So maybe you're going to go to an employer that pays $2 or $3 less an hour, but is that work-life balance just top tier, right? Top notch? Do they just tell you, listen, as long as you get your job done, take as much time off as you need? I mean, a lot of people value that time with our families and whatnot. So that's certainly a big one to consider when you're interviewing with multiple companies.
Right, definitely.
Paid holidays is another one, right? So, what holidays does that organization recognize and give you a paid day off for? So that's, obviously important too. And then, of course, there's your miscellaneous benefits. So those are your obvious ones, but then there's other things to consider. So do you have, maybe you've got 3 different offers on the table, right? And they're all fairly close to each other as far as base salary goes, but maybe an employer offers childcare assistance, and that's a huge bonus, right? So we all know how expensive that can be. Maybe you have an employer who's saying, hey, we offer this, maybe it's even like a side savings account to help you save towards that, and we contribute towards it. Maybe they've got, they're partnered or contracted with some sort of childcare company that, they offer a discount for care there. I mean, there's so many different options, but that's a big one, right? Especially with schools kind of going, back and forth between virtual and whatnot. It's really hard for parents to accommodate that when they have full-time, day jobs. So that's really important. Life insurance, does the company offer paid life insurance? Do they cover the premium for that, or do they contribute towards it? Tuition reimbursement, that's another one to consider. So, if you're a student or you're planning on becoming a student, does that employer offer any sort of financial assistance towards those courses?
Right.
So that's another big one too. We have a lot of employees who take advantage of that here at MHB, since we do offer it. So it's really great. We love to offer it, and we like to see a lot of employers offer it as well.
Yeah.
Anything else? That's tuition reimbursement. I'm trying to think of all the things that, typically, we want to advertise to our new hires and people who have started with us. So, but that's really, a nice snapshot of your main components that you want to consider.
Right, right. So I think I just want to reinforce to people that your compensation goes beyond just your salary, right? And you really need to look at that total compensation picture. You had mentioned the work-life balance, that giant salary may seem a lot less exciting if you're working Saturday and Sunday every single week. So just you really have to look at that full compensation picture before making a decision.
You do, and you want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges, right? So, like I said in the beginning, if you see that base number be a couple dollars higher, you're thinking, wow, of course I would leave my current employer for that. But think about the other things that pull really directly out of your pocket, or maybe even indirectly out of your pocket, right? There's just so much to consider. And so, when employers provide benefit statements to their employees, it's very helpful because it lets the employee see, what is my total comp? So maybe an employee is seeing $50,000 as an annualized salary, but maybe if you factor in all of these things we're discussing, maybe they really make, 60 to 65 a year. You got to take that into consideration. It's all really important. So
yeah, definitely. All right. Thanks, Sam, for hopping on. I appreciate it. I think this is really valuable knowledge, and I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for having me again.
Yep. Take care.